driving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Sorry, everybody. All right, so once again, I did not put the right. I'm so sick of this shit. There's too many little things to remember all the time. What's this one supposed to be called? This one's supposed to be called an improved outlook. So let's change that and then we'll get started. I'm reading now the 12 by 12. There you go. All right. Hi, Ingrid. I'm going to be starting on page 120 in the 12 by 12. Just to let you know. If you're here, welcome to Daily Trudge. Dion, host. If you're here, please say hello, live or rewatch. Right. What I was thinking about doing was like coming on, starting it, and then put the theme song on and then come back. I don't know. But we're going to start where at the line where it says where possessions of money. Where possessions of money. I'm going to go get my water real quick because I forgot to get some talking juice, of course.
Let me do it for you.
I got it. No, it's right here. Right here. Oh, you're going to get me some soda?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? See, my wife loves me.
Especially all the time.
Especially all the time.
Yep.
Here's my cup. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's do this. So I just went to an in-person AA meeting. I'm concerned that our groups are small. I'm really concerned there weren't that many people there. All right. What scares me is the lack of old timers. That's what scares me. All right. So where the possession of money and material things was concerned, our outlook underwent the same revolutionary change. With few exceptions, all of us have been spendthrifts. We threw money about in every direction with the purpose of pleasing ourselves and impressing other people. In our drinking time, we acted as if money supply was inexhaustible. Though between binges, we'd sometimes go to the other extreme and become almost miserly. Without realizing it, we were just accumulating funds for the next spree. Money was a symbol of pleasure and self-importance. When our drinking had become much worse, money was only an urgent requirement which could supply us with the next drink and the temporary comfort of oblivion that it brought. Upon entering AA, these attitudes were sharply reversed, often going much too far in the opposite direction. The spectacle of years of waste threw us into a panic. There simply wouldn't be time, we thought, to rebuild our shattered fortunes. That's why it didn't work yet. How could we ever take care of those awful debts, possess a decent home, educate the kids, and set something by for old age? Financial importance was no longer our principal aim. We now clamored for material security. Even when we were well reestablished in our business, these terrible fears often continued to haunt us. This made us misers or penny pinchers all over again. Complete financial security we must have, or else. We forgot that most alcoholics in AA have an earning power considerably above average. We forget the immense goodwill of our brothers AA who were only too eager to help us to get better jobs when we deserved them. We forgot that the actual or potential financial insecurity of every human being in the world. And worst of all, we forget God. In many matters, we had faith only in ourselves and not too much of that. This all meant, of course, that we were still far off balance. When a job still looked like a mere means of getting money rather than an opportunity for service, when the acquisition of money for financial independence looked more important than the right dependence upon God, we were still victims of unreasonable fears, and these fears, which we would make sense and useful existence at any financial level, quite impossible. Fear of economic insecurity will leave us. Actually, it says fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. And maybe you haven't gotten to that financial security portion, right? But that has to do with God. Are you living beyond your means? What do you consider your job? Is it service or is it just a means to make money? Do you really need to take a trip around the world? Do you have to go to Italy? I mean, come on. Yeah, I'm not going to ever make it to Italy probably, but I don't go over financial very often because I don't have much experience on it. I don't have much in the way of financial fears. So, but as time passed, we found that with the help of AA's 12-step, we could lose those fears. No matter what our material prospects were, we could cheerfully perform humble labor without worrying about tomorrow. If our circumstances happened to be good, we no longer dreaded a change for the worse, for we had learned that these troubles could be turned into great values. It did not matter too much what our material condition was, but it did matter what our spiritual condition was. Money gradually became our servant and not our master. It became a means of exchanging love and service with those about us. When, with God's help, we calmly accepted our lot, then we found we could live at peace with ourselves and show others who still suffered the same fears that they could get over them too. We found that freedom from fear was more important than freedom from want. Last year, I went in person. It was all old timers and no newcomers. Wow, that's kind of weird. No newcomers, huh? Let's here take note of our improved outlook upon problems of personal importance, power, ambition, and leadership. These were reefs upon which many of us came to shipwreck during our drinking careers. Practically every boy in the United States dreams of becoming our president. No, I never dreamed that. He wants to be the country's #1 man now. As he gets older and sees the impossibility of this, he can smile good-naturedly at his childhood dreams. In later life, he finds that real happiness is not to be found in just trying to be the #1 man or even the first rater in the heartbreaking struggle for money, romance, or self-importance. He learns that he can be content as long as he plays well whatever card life deals him. He is still ambitious, but not absurdly so, because now he can see and accept actual reality. He is willing to stay right-sized. So a lot of this is about not getting too big for our britches. Maybe an old saying that people don't know anymore. Means your ego is getting too big. That's what that means. I see it happen a lot in AA. I was just watching somebody who was chairing the meeting. Um, just as a heads up, if you are running the meeting, if you're the chairperson, that doesn't mean you do most of the talking. You do not take up a half hour opening up the meeting. You do not talk in between people. Okay? And I was just in the meeting and it felt like a power struggle in there. I could feel a power struggle. The thing is, it was only coming from one person. So I don't know where the other struggle was coming from. But sometimes we have to understand that we are not everything. Okay. And that we have to be right size. We need to understand our limitations. Let's here take note of our improved outlook upon problems of personal. Okay. But not so with alcoholics. When AA was quite younger, a number of eminent psychologists and doctors made an exhaustive study of a good-sized group of so-called problem drinkers. The doctors weren't trying to find out how different we were from another. They sought to find whatever personality traits, if any, this group of alcoholics had in common. They finally came with the conclusion that shocked AA members at the time. These distinguished men had the nerve to say that most of the alcoholics under investigation were still childish, emotionally sensitive, and grandiose. How we alcoholics did that resent that verdict. Would not believe that our adult dreams were often truly childish, and considering the real deal life had given us, we felt it perfectly natural that we were sensitive. As to our grandiose behavior, we insisted that we had been possessed of nothing but a high and legitimate ambition to win the battle of life. In the years since, however, most of us come to agree with these doctors. We've had a much keener look at ourselves and those about us. We have seen that we are prodded by unreasonable fears or anxieties into making a life a business of winning fame, money, and what we thought was leadership. What we thought was leadership. I see this happening all the time. So false pride becomes the reverse side of the ruinous coin marked fear. We simply had to be number one people to cover up our deep lying inferiorities. In fitful successes, we boasted our greater feats to be done. In defeat, we were bitter. If we didn't have much of any world success, we became depressed and cowed. Then people said we were of the inferior type, but now we see ourselves as chips off the old same block. At heart, we felt that we had all been abnormally fearful. It mattered little whether we had sat on the shore of life drinking ourselves into forgetfulness or plunged in recklessly and willfully beyond our depth and ability. The result was same. All of us had nearly perished in the sea of alcohol. But today, in well-matured AA, these distorted drives have been restored to something like their true purpose and direction. We no longer strive to dominate or rule those about us in order to gain self-importance. That's what I felt at that meeting, the person running it. There was something that he said, I'm letting you know that I have 13 years, and it's important you know that so that you can do it too. No, he did that to gain self-importance. Now, so I get fucked that you got 13 years. I did, and I kind of said that. I did say it doesn't matter how much time you have in my book. And you guys know you know me, but that is bragging. That's bragging. That's not experience, strength, and hope. That's just bragging. Thank you. When we no longer seek fame or honor in order to be praised, we no longer seek fame and honor in order to be praised. When by devoted service to family, friends, business, or community, we attract widespread affection and sometimes singled out for posts of greater responsibility and trust. We try to be humbly grateful and exert ourselves, the more the spirit of love and service. True leadership, we find, depends upon able example and not upon vain displays of power or glory. Right? And what mantra do I go by? Leadership by example. That's where I got it. Told you, I run my business based off this. Not the big book, off the 12 by 12. Okay. Still more wonderful is the feeling that we do not have to be specially distinguished among our fellows in order to be useful or profoundly happy. Not many of us can be leaders of prominence, nor do we wish to be. Service gladly rendered, obligations squarely met, troubles well accepted or solved with God's help. The knowledge that at home or in the world outside we are partners in a common effort. The well understood fact that in God's sight all human beings are important. The proof that love freely given surely brings a full return. The certainty that we are no longer isolated and alone in self-constructed prisons. The surety that we no longer need be square pegs and round holes, but can fit and belong in God's scheme of things. These are the permanent, legitimate satisfactions of right living for which no amount of pomp and circumstance, no heap of material possessions could possibly be substitutes. True ambition is not what we thought it was. True ambition is a deep desire to live usefully and walk humbly under the grace of God. These little studies of AA's 12 steps have now come to a close. We have been considering so many problems that it may appear that AA consists mainly of racking dilemmas and troubleshooting. To a certain extent, that is true. We've been talking about these problems because we are problem people who have found a way up and out and who wish to share our knowledge of that way with all of them who can use it. For it is only by accepting and solving our problems that we can begin to right ourselves and with the world about us, and with Him who presides over us all. Understanding is the key to right principles and attitudes, and right action is the key to good living. Therefore, the joy of good living is the theme of AA's 12th step. With each passing day of our lives, may every one of us sense more deeply the inner meaning of AA's simple prayer. God, grant me the strength to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, that was a fun little reading. And I gotta get going. I got a sponsee in about 5 minutes. So, I hope you have a great day too, Ingrid. Thank you for being here. I'm glad that I could help. So, thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. Peace out and have a day. Bye-bye.